Oh, plenty of drama, as always. I mean, we say it every week, but there's always drama when it comes to the A-League men's. And there's a lot to discuss from this past weekend, as we really are now in sort of the final stretch of the regular season, as the table really starts to take shape with just a number of weeks remaining in the competition. So much to talk about from Auckland FC drawing 4-4 with Adelaide United in what would, I mean, heading into the weekend was a top of the table clash. Away wins for Melbourne City, for Western United. 1-1 draw between Brisbane Roar and Melbourne Victory. Victory were very poor in that game. Sydney FC 2-0 to rivals Macarthur FC, and Western Sydney Wanderers really starting to hit some good form at the moment. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to West Sydney Wanderers in particular, because they're this team who have sort of suffered from inconsistency so far this season. But are they hitting, a decent little patch of form here at the perfect time in the season? They're sitting in a pretty decent spot in the top six. Hello to A-League Edits in the live chat. Thanks for joining us here. We're going to be live for the next hour discussing all the games, and we'd love to hear from you guys as well. So if you have any thoughts on the games from this past weekend, on your feelings, your emotions, how is your team? Where is your team sitting on the ladder in terms of how do you feel about your team's position? But a big week to talk about. So let's jump into what was probably the biggest game of the weekend and the biggest scoreline itself. The 4-4 draw between Auckland FC and Adelaide United. This game lived up to expectations heading into it. It was obviously the top of the table clash. Obviously, we had some teams, City and Western, winning prior to this game in the round. So Adelaide slipped down, but still, this was a big game in the context of the premiership race. And I think the big question for you guys, I mean, we made a dedicated review video for this game on the weekend, and I think the big question that we discussed in that video was, have Auckland done enough now to secure the Premier's play? Like, is it over? They managed to get a point in the end, almost with three. I tell you what, here's a simple thing for me. If Auckland won this game, if Auckland grabbed 3 points in this game, I think it'd be too tricky, to catch them. I think still at this point now, they probably will secure the Premier's plate. I think there's a really, really good chance they do that. But I think with Adelaide drawing here, it just keeps there's just a slither of hope for those handful of teams, which we'll talk about a bit later when we look at the ladder. A handful of teams, chasing Auckland a top spot there for that Premier's plate. What a game, though, dude. What a match. Two, high-quality teams. Auckland coming in with a really, really strong lineup. May and Mata leading the way up top. Rogerson on the score sheet again. Guillermo May. I mean, this guy has been fantastic this season. One of the top strikers in the competition. Hiroki Sakai. I thought he'd won it at the end. But this Reds team, we have to talk about, Bart Vriends, who's been fantastic this season at the back and chipped in with a crucial equaliser right at the death. Zach Clough. Cool as you like from the penalty spots. I was thinking about it on the weekend actually after watching this game, and I think it's at the point now where I think we have to talk about Zach Clough being one of the best, I think, imports we've seen in A-League history. This guy came over to Adelaide about 3 or 4 years ago now, and he's done an exceptional job. Hey, an exceptional job. So yeah. Good to see Bob here in the live chat. This game was so good, says Bob. Dude, as a neutral, it was so much fun to watch. Hey, I mean, two teams just going at it. And look, it was Auckland who had that advantage. I mean, if we look at the timestamps for their goals, I mean, Logan Rogerson had the third at the 52nd minute. It was a 3-1 lead. And then the two penalties, a bit of controversy surrounding those two penalty decisions. VAR was involved for me. They were both penalties. The first one, I think, is definitely a penalty. Verstrate, didn't get to the ball first. The second one, I believe it was Stefan Mork, who was sort of driving through the box and got tripped up. You could maybe make an argument, to suggest that Stefan Mork was sort of looking for the contact. He was driving in, looking to engage the contact, but still the defenders did get in his way. So I'm all right with both penalties being awarded. 3-3 at that stage. And then Auckland FC, 92nd minute, second minute of injury time. Hiroki Sakai, who has been, again, phenomenal this season for the new boys with that crucial goal and the great scenes of the celebrations with the port behind the goal as well. And then Bart Vriends, I mean, again, as we said earlier, just stepping up in the 98th minute. And a moment of frailty at the back for Auckland FC in defence. It was an uncharacteristic goal for them to concede. Auckland, the way that ball sort of trickled through, wasn't cleared, and and tapped home by Breens. A really big goal potentially when it comes to the end of things. When we look at the ladder at the end of this season, Auckland grabbing a point here against Adelaide United. I mean, what a match. One of the games of the season for me. Looking at the stats, it's quite interesting too. It's quite even at the shots. 17 for Auckland, 18 for Adelaide. Possession did favour Adelaide a little bit as well. A-League Edison in the live chat says potential A-League grand final. Honestly, it could well be. It could well be. I wouldn't be surprised to see these two teams in the ultimate decider come the end of the season. You've got two teams who have been playing great football all season, and this is their second meeting of the campaign, and both matches have just been incredibly entertaining. Both draws, entertaining draws with late drama. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is indeed the A-League Men's Grand Final. Bob in the live chat says, I think Auckland will finish first. Yeah, I'm with you as well. I mean, let's jump into the ladder right now. Auckland, top of the ladder as we stand, 40 points after 18 games, which is just incredible, really, for a team who didn't exist a year ago. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. They are 8 points clear of Western United and Adelaide United, who are both on 32 points. And the thing that may well help Auckland in the end, if those other two teams manage to catch them, is goal difference. Auckland are plus 19 when it comes to goal difference. That's a lot higher than any of the other rival teams below them. So it feels like at this point that Auckland FC may well have just secured it. If they, keep on doing what they've been doing all season, they will be premiers. That's it. That's the headline, man. They've been in fantastic form, and not many teams have managed to stop them. Those two losses, again, just really feel like outliers. The loss away to Perth Glory, which again was sort of one of the upsets of the season, and then that 4-0 loss at home to West United, which again to me feels like a real outlier of this season. Having said that, West United have been very, very good this campaign as well. But Auckland FC, I think they are closing, and they have almost done it. Tell you what, a win next time out for Auckland. They have Jets away, which will be a fun game to watch because you've got a Newcastle Jets side who are, 3 wins on the trot. So that will be interesting. And it is a Newcastle home game. But yeah, man. Yeah, what a match. What a match it was. All right, let's shuffle on. Bob here in the live chat, thanks for joining us. Says, I don't know, but as a Melbourne City fan, with losing some games, I don't think we will finish in the 6. Interesting take, Bob. Dude, I like Melbourne City. I think they've been good this campaign. They're still in a very good position. Melbourne City are currently 5th on the ladder, 31 points. And let's talk about City's match from the past round. They travelled over to New Zealand. We're talking about the 2 New Zealand games to kick off the stream here. Wellington Phoenix 0, Melbourne City 1. Melbourne City, they've done this a number of times this season where it's just a sort of a cool, composed performance, quite a dominant performance, controlling a lot of possession, creating chances, and they get the win. Just a 1-0 win at the end. It was a narrow one, but jumping in the stats first of all, as we look at it from Google, I mean, Wellington with just the 5 shots, 0 on target. First of all, Wellington Phoenix have been really disappointing this season, especially compared to what they achieved last campaign, their best ever season. 5 shots, 0 on target, especially at home. Yes, you're coming up against a top side of Melbourne City, but you got to demand more of your team at home. I mean, and it's not just this game; it's so many times this season they've been very, very lackluster in attack. Costa Barbarouses has stepped up at times this season, but they've been so I'm not sure what the word is, but they've been very toothless going forward. Not just that, but I'd like to see a bit more ambition from Wellington Phoenix moving forward. They're one of, out of all the teams in the competition, they have some of the lowest sort of shot stats in the competition. And to not only get 1 on target at home, it is disappointing for them. 60% possession as well for Melbourne City. They controlled a lot of this game and managed to rack up 19 shots overall. 1 goal coming for Marco Tilio in the 51st minute as well. G'day to Namar in the chat. Thanks for joining us here. Great to see you all here. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to hit the like button. Support the stream. You can also consider sending through a super chat as we run through all of the A-League games from this weekend. The Phoenix, again, I mean, great to see Alex Rufer back in recent weeks. He was starting in this game. Chico Giraldez is again involved. Yet to sort of see him really impact the game just yet, but he's showing promising signs. But Wellington Phoenix, they just need more going forward. They don't they? And Melbourne City, I think it's ominous signs for them as we head into the final rounds of the season. The fact that they really are sort of getting almost their full strength side back. Caputo's been back for the last few weeks. Tilio's back. Matt Leckie came off the bench in this game, but he's been back for the last few weeks as well. Obviously, there's still a few players missing. Ugarkovic is still out. Jonathan Cohen is out as well. But it's great for them to have a number of their key players back from injury and involved in the team and contributing as well. So this is a team, Melbourne City, who on their day is capable of beating anyone. I do believe that. They've got some really, really top players. Andreas Kuhn as well, back from injury. He's been good this season also. So be wary of Melbourne City. I mean, Bob, Melbourne City fan in the live chat, said that he maybe wasn't too confident on City making the 6 in the end, but they have the ammunition, man. They have the ammunition. I think they can get it done. G'day, Sam. Good to see you here. No worries, Sam. Raw played good on Saturday, says Bob. Bob, thanks for helping us transition from game to game. Let's talk about that Brisbane Raw Melbourne victory game next, because it was a fascinating game. It was a weird one. It was a strange old game. You look at the result in the end and you think, oh yeah, fair enough. Melbourne victory, may have dominated things, but Brisbane Raw, snatching the equaliser. Brisbane Raw have obviously been struggling this season. But this was a strange game. I mean, the stats don't really sum it up well. I mean, 12 shots for Brisbane, 6 on target. Victory with 10 shots, 4 on target. Victory with 62% possession in the end. But Brisbane Raw, I thought, were very good in this game. This is one of their better performances of the season. To be fair, that isn't saying much. But I thought Victory were very, very, very poor in this game. I don't know about you guys, but they were really lackluster going forward. And they had to wait till the 97th minute, Casey Bosk sneaking in, tapping in the cross. They almost lost the game on Victory, which would have been a bit of a disaster for them. And Henry Hall getting the goal in the first half, a really nicely taken goal as well. Ayla Get It says Brisbane Raw have had a challenging season. What were the main issues they faced in their match against Melbourne Victory, and how can they address them moving forward? Well, for me, they did a lot of things right, Brisbane Raw, in this match against Melbourne Victory. But yeah, obviously they're in a situation where they're not going to play finals football this season. And I think there's an opportunity for them to, again, give more game time to youngsters, it's been good to see a few of the youngsters shining a little bit this season. Sam Klein, again, starting, he's been good. He has been good this season. I do like the look of Sam Klein. He's a hard-working midfield player. Even Nathan Amanatidi is another youngster getting game time for Brisbane Raw at the moment as well. So might be a situation for them where they just keep doing what they're doing, trying to give the minutes to young players, and trying to get results where they can. Maybe try and build some form at home, because that's the thing. That's the area where they really struggled as well at home. They're just unable to win games at home, which is a real disappointment for Raw fans. But yeah, again, Melbourne Victory, I mean, you look at their lineup, it's not like they were missing, key players or anything. They had a strong lineup. Virgos, Machash, Piscopo was there. Santos has been in good form on that right wing as well. But for obviously all the way to the 97th minute, it looked like Brisbane were going to win this game. There were some great opportunities for the Raw towards the end of the match to make it 2 as well. They really should have. Some crucial opportunities that should have been put away to make it 2-2. They were unable to do so, and that has obviously affected Brisbane a lot this season, their sort of inability to take their opportunities. But yeah, man, Brisbane Raw, as Bob said in the live chat, did play well in this game, and who knows, maybe they can find a little bit of decent form to round out the season. Again, having a look at the ladder, Brisbane Raw sitting bottom at the moment. Just 17 games played so far this season. That's a little bit less than some of the other teams around them. Just 7 points for the campaign. 1 win, 4 draws, 12 losses. That 1 win you might remember coming away to Sydney FC. But yeah, it's been a tough watch for Brisbane Raw fans, unfortunately, this season for them. Just the 19 scored, 36 conceded. That goal record is a little bit better than Perth Glory, who is above them on the ladder. But yeah, if Brisbane Raw can win some of those games in hand, they will lift themselves off the bottom of the ladder. So we'll see how they go for the remainder of the campaign. We've got a lot more action to talk about, and if you guys have any questions or comments regarding this weekend's games, feel free to throw them in the live chat. Sam makes the point here. It says, first point Raw have gotten at home too. You're probably right, Sam Hay, aren't you? Yeah. Thanks for pointing it out, Sam. Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, I don't think they have picked up any other points at home. Hey, they've been losing so much at home this season. So there you go. That's a little positive for Brisbane Roar. It is a positive for the Roar. Hey, next up, I want to talk about Macarthur FC taking on Sydney FC, a 2-0 win for the Sky Blues. And I'm worried, man. I'm worried for Macarthur FC. I mean, we were worried heading into this matchup. You know, obviously they had the bye the previous week, but a couple of weeks ago, that announcement of Valajaman departing the club, the captain, the all-time leading goal scorer of Macarthur FC, leaving the side. I mean, still just a shocking announcement for the captain of this club to leave at such a crucial point in the season. And look, it wasn't like Macarthur were in a position where maybe they were struggling and were going to miss out finals. They've been right in the mix. They've spent a lot of this season in the top 6. You do not want to lose. You know, Valajaman's probably their best player, man. He's contributed a lot to this team in goals, in assists. He's been a top player in the competition, and unfortunately, it didn't end in the way they would have liked. You know, him leaving, not only in the middle of the season, but outside of the transfer window. I mean, that's the other thing that's a real gut punch to Macarthur FC. You know, had it have been a few weeks earlier, January, February, where the window was still open and they could have brought another striker in, that might have been all right. But they're in a position now, Macarthur FC, where they have one recognised striker, and that is Harrison Sawyer, who hasn't played a lot of A-League action this season, unfortunately. So, and Macarthur FC, I mean, even as we look at the stats for this match, I mean, we've starved for opportunities. 6 shots, 1 on target. You know, usually we see a lot more from Macarthur FC going forward. Look, some of that is partly credit to Sydney FC, who did well to control large portions of this game. 26 shots for the Sky Blues, 10 on target. A-League Edits says Costa was absolutely phenomenal. He's been good in recent weeks, hasn't he? Bob says Sydney FC was so good. A-League Edits also says huge win for Sydney FC. And where was Macarthur's start of the season form gone? Where has it gone? Asks A-League Edits. Can they still finish in the finals? Look, they're still in the position to do so. But my concern is where the goals are going to come from. Like, literally, because they don't have any strikers. I mean, Harry Sawyer, again, hasn't played many minutes this season. You look at the lineup, Economides off the right, Yakalish off the left. Yakalish has been good for them this season. But, yes, there's some concern. There's some serious concern for the Bulls. They need some players to really step up and provide the goals. Otherwise, I could seriously see them slipping down. Yeah. And look, Sydney FC, I mean, fantastic in this game. They've and another clean sheet, which is worth pointing out. They haven't kept many clean sheets this season, Sydney FC. But yeah, as Alligators mentioned in the live chat, Douglas Costa, he's been very good. And I think we're at the point now in this season where we can say Douglas Costa has been a success. All right, I think that's fair to say. Would you guys agree? It's fair to say Douglas Costa has been a success so far this season. Look, he hasn't featured in every game. He's been injured for portions of the season. But when he has been involved, he's made an impact. He's looked very lively. He wants to get on the ball. You know? He hasn't necessarily scored tons of goals and everything, but he's been very, very positive. And obviously, this is coming off the back of some marquee signings who just haven't worked out in the A-League. Obviously, Daniel Sturridge and Nani struggling with injury, unfortunately. But it's great to see Douglas Costa, a guy who's, played UEFA Champions League football for some of the biggest clubs in Europe. And he's tearing it up at the moment for Sydney FC. Joe Lolly dangerous. Patrick Klamalo on the score sheet once again. Klamalo's been good this season, man. Sydney FC, look, I think, it's been an up and down season for them. But, again, we look at the ladder. I mean, they're 7th right now on the ladder. That, goes to show how tight things are when it comes to the top 6. But they are seriously in the mix for finals. They have to make sure they just tighten things up defensively, which they did do in this game. And they could see themselves playing finals football. Edits here in the live chat says, Harrison Devonish-Mears has finally settled a clean sheet for him and is playing amazing now. That's been one of the talking points for Sky Blues fans in recent weeks, hasn't it? Hasn't it been? I mean, the goalkeeper position, Devonish-Mears coming in, and a lot of people talking, wanting Redmayne to return to the starting 11. So, yes, it's been a point of contention for Sydney FC fans. that goalkeeper position, because we have seen some shaky performances from Devonish Mears, but yeah, good boost for him getting that goal, that clean sheet, that first of the season. Nama asks, do you think Juan Mata is a success? I think, look, if you compare Douglas Costa and Juan Mata, not that we want to obviously just directly compare the two, but obviously Douglas Costa I think has had more of an impact. I think Juan Mata's been a success. Look, he's been heavily involved. He hasn't had any major injuries. Obviously, it's been a funny situation for Juan Mata, considering that he hasn't managed to really lock down a starting position in the Wanderers lineup. But when he has been on the pitch, he has been influential. He's provided some nice assists. We've seen some really good moves from Juan Mata. He's brought fans to stadiums. Again, looking at the whole situation, he probably would be better suited at a different club. He'd probably would be better suited at somewhere like Macarthur SC, who could probably use someone like Juan Mata, a creative player like that, to help create more goals. So there's probably a handful of other A-League clubs where Juan Mata would be starting week in, week out. But West Sydney Wanderers, I don't really play a particular system that I think suits Juan Mata personally, at least. But overall, I think it's been a success. I think the fact that he's been fit, he has been featuring here and there. Yeah. Bob asks here, do you think the Jets will finish in the sixth? In the sixth? Well, Newcastle Jets. They didn't obviously play this weekend, but they're in a great position because, look, 21 points, but they have games in hand. They've only played 17 so far this season. Melbourne Victory, who are in sixth place, have played 19. A couple of games in hand for Newcastle Jets, and they've won 3 games in a row. I don't think they will finish in the sixth. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Mariners fan, not just being biased. It's going to take a huge effort for Newcastle Jets to play finals football. They are still 9 points off the 6. Yes, they have those games in hand. But, I mean, it's going to take a real turnaround for Newcastle Jets. They're going to have to really, win some big games. Look, I was impressed when they defeated Adelaide on the road. That was a big win. But, look, they've got Auckland at home. I'll tell you what, if the Jets can beat Auckland at home this weekend, yeah, I mean, if they could beat Adelaide and Auckland, that's a real promising sign that maybe they are building something special for the end of this season. So maybe they are the team to watch. It's an interesting one, isn't it, Bob? It is. Guys, thanks for joining us for our live discussion of round 21 of the A-League Men's. We're going to be live for the next 40 minutes or so. Still a few more games to talk about from this past round. Sydney FC 2 over Macarthur SC 0. Next up, we're going to talk about Central Coast Mariners 1, West Sydney United 3. Full review for this game is out on the Coast Watch Football YouTube channel. As a Mariners fan, straight up, I mean, the big takeaway is just like frustration. I thought Mariners did really well to create some great chances and were just unable to take them. And Western United, quality team this season, took their chances. That's the difference between the top sides and the bottom sides, really. Those top sides will take those chances, and they did that. Noah Botic, Luke Vickery, Michael Roos at the end, scoring. Tomoki Imai own goal was that equaliser for the Mariners. But again, disappointing. We know Sainsbury was missing for this game. Kaltak and Nathan Paul back. But aside from that, it was a promising lineup for the Mariners. DePizio, Quoll, Docker in there as well. Hayne Eames starting again. Thea Harris on the wing. And again, the first half was relatively quiet for both teams, but the second half, we had some great chances, Mariners. I mean, 17 shots in the end, which is higher than what we've seen for a lot of this season for Mariners. But the disappointing thing is 3 on target. 3 on target out of 17. Not ideal. Possession was pretty even, but West United, man, I mean, 16 shots, 10 on target. And again, that just shows their quality. The fact that they've managed to get, double digits when it comes to shots on target. They did look threatening going forward. Some of their attacking plays in the second half was really, really difficult to stop. And Noah Botic, it's worth talking about this guy for a sec because he's been phenomenal. 10 goals now for the season, double digits. He's building some great form, and there is, serious conversation surrounding Noah Botic now in terms of a position for the Socceroos squad for these qualifiers coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Like he may well be one of the most informed Aussie strikers in the world right now. Seriously, I mean, he's scoring goals, and I like what Noah Bocic provides. It's not just goals. I think his all-round game is very, very good, and is getting better and better. We've seen this season he's just taken his game to the next level. I like that he's not necessarily a one-dimensional striker. He has a lot to his game. His pace, his movement in the box, his finishing ability. Obviously, you need that to be a top striker, and he has that. He's shown that this season. Obviously, scoring 10 goals and scoring a variety of goals too. Obviously, he's there for the tap-ins. He's got that poacher instinct, but he scored some bangers this year. So Noah Bocic for the Socceroos, I think it's a chance. I'm not going to go ahead and say, yes, I want to see him in that squad in a couple of weeks' time. But if he isn't named in the squad, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Nama here says, give Noah Smith a chance. We love Noah Smith. We'd love to see him get some game time. But yeah, man, it's been a tough run for him. He featured in a couple games earlier on in the season. I thought he played pretty well. He started against MacArthur in December. But it's been tricky. Obviously, Lucas Moragas is a top left back. We've seen a few other players play that left back role as well. So yeah, Noah Smith has found it difficult to get game time. Bob in the live chat says, after the games from this past week, can we talk about the games that are coming up? Yes, we shall indeed, Bob, towards the end of the stream. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bob Bell in the live chat. Dylan Leonard as well, worth talking about him. He was good in this game. Again, just this incredible how he's come into the A-League this season at 17 years of age and just performed so well. This is a guy who I'd be very surprised if he isn't moving to, a club overseas at the end of the season. He's been very, very, very good. So, Western United. I was at this game. I saw them in person, man. They are the real deal. They are currently second on the ladder, Western United. And we'll talk about it right now, actually. That second spot on the ladder is so crucial. As we've been saying, it looks like Auckland FC will cruise through to secure the Premier's plate. Huge achievement for the New Zealand club. Of course, Auckland FC from New Zealand cannot play in the Asian Champions League competitions. And as we know, the team who finishes first in the A-League goes through to the Asian Champions League Elite. So, that second place has become so valuable now. Yes, you miss out on silverware, but you earn a place in the Asian Champions League Elite. And the crazy thing is, you look at the ladder now, there are 3 points separating second and seventh. It's quite incredible. Western on 32 points. All the way down, Sydney FC at 7th, 29 points. Who will step up and claim that Champions League spot? I mean, after watching Western in person, I wouldn't be surprised if they do finish second. They've been great. But it may well be Adelaide United. They've been so good for much of this season as well. I mean, it could be Wanderers. They've been building some big form. And wouldn't that be a big story for West Sydney Wanderers, winners of the Asian Champions League from 2014, to qualify, after a decade away for the competition once again. The Melbourne clubs, obviously Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory, will be chasing that spot as well. And Sydney FC, who have been doing well in the Asian Champions League 2 this season, will be eager to step up to the Asian Champions League Elite as well. Great to see you guys joining us in the live chat. Sam, good to hear that you're doing well in your your fantasy league. Ebag in the live chat, g'day, says Melbourne City easily second place. Only 2 more away games and a game in hand. That's worth pointing out there, Ebag. I mean, Melbourne City, again, I was talking about them a bit earlier. I rate their squad, man. They've got some top players returning from injury lately, and yeah, I could see them finishing second as well. It's crazy. I mean, it's going to be hectic, just the final few rounds of the season, man. It could really be any of those teams in that 6 grabbing that second spot on the ladder. All right, so Western United 3, Mariners 1. Another great win for the Green and Black. As a Mariners fan, disappointed that we had yet another home loss. 1 win for the Mariners at home this season, which is a serious disappointment. Check out the Coastwatch Football YouTube channel for dedicated Mariners content. But we've got one more game to talk about from this past weekend, and that's Western Sydney Wanderers 4. Perth Glory won it. Wanderers. Wow. This West Sydney Wanderers team, 3 consecutive wins. 4 wins in their last 5. Have they overcome the inconsistency that plagued them in the early rounds of the season? And are they coming home strong to finish off the regular season? 43 goals scored in the A-League this season. That is the highest in the A-League. No one has scored more goals than Western Sydney Wanderers. That's more than the likes of Auckland, Western, and Adelaide. Obviously, defensively, they've been a little bit shaky, but again, starting to tighten up things a little bit. 22 shots, 11 on target for the Wanderers. Perth Glory with the 13 shots, 3 on target. And they did open the scoring through Adam Taggart in the 5th minute, Perth Glory, but Aidan Hammond with a couple of goals, Priestman chipping in. Butterar Kraev has been good this season at Western Sydney. And I like the team that they've constructed, man. I really do. Borello's been good. Zapsford obviously has stepped up for some big games this season. They were missing Milanovic through suspension, but great for Wanderers fans to see Aidan Hammond, who's spent a lot of time on the bench this season, step in and grab a couple of goals. And Kraev, again, as I said, has been very, very good. And defensively, maybe they're starting to tighten things up a little bit at the back. Western Sydney Wanderers holding Perth Glory just to the 1 goal. Look, I don't think Wanderers will go ahead and claim that second spot. I think maybe some other teams are looking a little bit stronger overall. I think the defence might, hurt them in the end. The fact that they have been conceding a number of goals this season, West Sydney Wanderers. But come finals time, if Wanderers are there, I wouldn't want to play them. I wouldn't want to play them. And keep an eye on Wanderers in the coming weeks, man, if they can keep this form up. It'll be interesting to see. Quick word about Perth Glory. I mean, again, some of the new signings getting some more game time, which is good to see. But, they've been disappointing this season, haven't they? And they just didn't offer enough, hey. Alizio, good to see you here. Been a while since I've been able to catch you live, but hope all has been good. Cheers, mate. Certainly feeling good for me as an Auckland fan. Yeah, Auckland. Closing in on that Premier's plate. Peter in the live chat says, comment here regarding Central Coast Mariners. Says we lost so many points because Central Coast Mariners lost practically every match in the ACL. Yeah, obviously it's been difficult. Mariners juggling the 2 competitions. Good to see Frenzy Rabbit in here as well. Says Brisbane without a win in a year at home. It's a tremendous record, isn't it? Yeah. It is a tremendous record. Sam here in the live chat says, I have no idea how Borello was uninvolved in the last 2 games, despite Wanderers scoring for both games. It's another, thing to point out. Hey, last 2 games for Wanderers. Away to Mariners, home to Perth. 4 goals in both games. They're dangerous, man. They are dangerous. Bob says they've been very good, West Sydney Wanderers. Yeah. I don't think they'll necessarily finish in that top 2. They are in a good position, aren't they? 31 points. 31 points. Only 9 points off Auckland at the top. And the fact that they've just been so dangerous in front of goal. Again, no one has scored more goals this season than the Western Sydney Wanderers. I think in finals time, I think they'll be a seriously dangerous team. They will be a dangerous team. One to watch. So that's a look at all of the games from this past week. Some huge results in the A-League men's, man. From Wellington Phoenix 0, Melbourne City 1. We had Mariners 1, Western United 3. Another big win for the Green and Black. Match of the round for me was Auckland FC 4, Adelaide 4, Brisbane Roar drawing 1-1 with Melbourne victory. Macarthur FC hosting Sydney FC, 2-0 win for the Sky Blues. And West Sydney Wanderers 4-1 over Perth Glory. If you guys have any comments or questions, send them in right now. We'd love to hear from you guys. Wolfie, thanks for joining us in the live chat tonight. Good to see you here. Wolfie says, Sydney FC, 7th place. Very disappointing to sign Douglas Costa, and you're missing final, says Wolfie. Look, I still feel like Sydney FC are in a good position. Yes, the inconsistency has been hurting them this campaign. 8 wins, 6 losses, 5 draws. Look, they were good in this game, though. You've got to admit, though, Wolfie, I reckon. They were good in that game against Macarthur FC. Worth remembering as well that they as well have been juggling Asian Champions League football. They're in the Asian Champions League too, and have their first leg quarterfinal matchup this coming weekend away to Jeonbuk. So, Sydney FC, I think, are still in a good position. They are in the mix. They are just 1 point off the 6 at the time of this live stream. And again, you look at the team. Let's highlight Sydney FC at the moment, actually, and look at that lineup, because they are capable, aren't they? They are capable with the team they have to, I think, go a long way when it comes to a final series. I think they can really challenge. It's just a matter of making sure they keep things tight at the back. And look, I think maybe the signing of Alex Grant may well, prove super valuable in the end. They obviously needed to sign someone in that mid-season transfer window, and it's a good signing to bring in Alex Grant. But look, Wataru Kamijo, again, getting some more game time for Sydney FC. Good to see the youngster in that starting lineup. Klamala has been good for them this season. He's always dangerous in front of goal. And Costa, I mean, again, he's missed some games through injury, but if he stays fit for the remainder of the season, Sydney FC will continue to rise. Yeah. Jasper says Sydney can still make finals. What else are we saying here as well? Wolfie says MacArthur did lose their captain. Yep, they did indeed. I mean, on the flip side of this game, MacArthur FC, as we discussed a bit earlier as well, Valerie, man, that's such a huge loss for them. It really is. Peachy says, good luck to Sydney for the Asian Champions League. Hope they do bad in the A-League, though, says Peachy. Look, I mean, yeah, what would you rather? I mean, here's the thing, right? Now, I might have to check this. If someone can check for us online, please do so now. But if I'm not mistaken, if Sydney FC win the Asian Champions League 2, they go through to the Champions League Elite, right? Don't quote me on that. I could be mistaken, but that's how it worked for Mariners last year. Obviously, Mariners did finish top of the A-League last year as well. But that's worth considering as well. Like we were talking about earlier, that second spot on the ladder, it's looking like Auckland will finish first. They can't play Champions League football in Asia. So that second spot becomes super valuable. Whoever finishes there will play Champions League Elite, right? We expect. And then the winner of the Asian Champions League 2, we expect, will play Elite football next season. Hope you guys are following along with this. But what I'm trying to say is, Sydney FC, they may not finish second in the league, but if they win the Champions League 2, they get Champions League Elite football. Hopefully we have 2 teams, at least, 2 A-League teams in the Champions League Elite next season. Not sure exactly how that all works, but yeah, that could be an interesting thing. They're at a point now in the Champions League 2, Sydney FC, where they are just a handful of games away from winning the whole thing. And Sydney FC will be looking at what Central Coast Mariners did last season. I'm thinking, we can do the same thing, man. Looking at that squad, looking at that Sky Blue squad, they can do it, man. They can. They can. And Wolfie Tale just has to be really smart, sort of managing the players. Long trips coming to and from Asia. But yeah. Alizio says, such a shame to think that we, Auckland, can't play in the Champions League Elite. Here's what it is, I guess, says Alizio. It's disappointing, isn't it? Yeah, it is disappointing. It would be fun to see this Auckland team play Champions League football too. It really, really would. I mean, they've built a top side. And they deserve to be top of the A-League ladder. They do. They deserve to be. I mean, you look at the team that they got. It would be really interesting to see how their squad would fare in the Asian Champions League Elite. Sakai right back. Smith and Pinaka have been very solid. Dan Hall still to come back from injury. De Vries, I think we can all agree, he's been the best left back this season. They've got a top keeper in Alex Paulson. Rogerson, Moreno in the wings. Brimmer, Gajagos. Obviously, Vestrate can come in as well in midfield. Geronimo May has been one of the top strikers in the competition, and Max Matz is there as well, chipping in with a few goals this season. So, and, the bench as well. They've got good depth, Auckland FC. The players coming off the bench have been contributing a lot also. So they've got a really top team, Auckland FC, and it is a shame that we can't see them play Asian Champions League elite football. Although I did see something today. I don't know if you guys saw this online. I don't know too much about it, so if anyone knows more about it, let us know. The Oceanic Champions League, something like that. where apparently there's clubs from New Zealand and I think it's Papua New Guinea and Fiji, a variety of teams in the Oceania region, and apparently a few clubs from Australia interested featuring in a new Oceanic Champions League. You guys can research more about that online, but I did see something about that today on social media. But yeah, it is a shame that we can't see them play in the Champions League. Hopefully we can. I don't know if that can ever be changed in the future, but yeah, it would obviously be an even longer trip for New Zealand clubs heading to the likes of Japan and China and yeah. But they've obviously been so much fun to watch this season, Auckland FC. So look, the ladder is certainly heating up, isn't it? The thing that is really tantalizing is looking at the points difference between second and seventh, just 3 points. Looking at the teams just below that, though, I mean, Macarthur FC 25 points. Yes, they are still certainly in the mix, but the fact that they've lost Valley Man, I think, is going to hurt them. Newcastle Jets, I mean, they're the team that we're all watching this weekend as they host Auckland FC. They can get another win. They are closing in on that top six very, very fast. It is really starting to slip away now, though, for Mariners and Wellington Phoenix. And that's one of the big storylines, I think, for this season. Both Mariners and Phoenix were obviously leading the way last season, weren't they? They were leading the way last season, the two top teams. Mariners in 10th, Wellington in 11th. Yeah, man, it's been disappointing for those two teams, unfortunately. So it's looking less likely by the week that they'll play final football. Alrighty, what else are we saying here? The live chat, great to see you all here. Make sure to hit the like button to support the channel. We're all about creating a community of Aussie football fans here and celebrating this wonderful competition. Frenzied Rabbit, great to see you here as always. Frenzied Rabbit asks, what do you think of the stat that Brisbane fans haven't seen a win at home in a year now? Also says, I think we will see a 50,000-seater stadium with Macarthur crowds next season, suggesting that the crowds will get even lower for Brisbane Roar there. Dude, it's incredible, isn't it? Brisbane Roar. This team who enjoyed so much success over a decade ago, the early 2010s. Feels like so long ago now. They won 3 championships in 4 years. Incredible era. What an era for Brisbane Roar. They were unstoppable. Ange Postecoglou, of course, key to that. What a team they had. And you look at this team now, and again, it's worth pointing out, the only team in the great state of Queensland. The only A-League club there. And they have 1 win in 17 games. Brisbane Roar, and again, it's not just this season. They have been on a downward trend for the last few years, and they are seriously hitting rock bottom. It really is sad, just like as general A-League fans, from a neutral point of view, seeing this team really struggle. You look at their lineup, and again, I think that they should be winning more games. Look, Jay O'Shea has been working so hard this season. Week in, week out, he is their best player. Sam Klein has been a bright spark, youngster in midfield. What else can we say? I mean, Henry Hall, he's returned after a loan spell away in South Korea. Great to see him back, and he's been contributing since returning. But they need more from some of these guys. Yeah, a few guys who, from the bench as well. I mean, Florian Berenguer is a top player on his day. Jacob Brissett has had some really promising signs this season as well. Ben Halloran, again, has that A-League experience, but hasn't provided maybe the goals that he would have hoped for this season. I was expecting, in the ladder prediction we did leading up to the season, I called Brisbane. What did I say? I think, I can't remember now. Someone can let me know. Did I call Brisbane to finish last? I can't remember. Last or bottom or second last or something. But I didn't expect them to do this bad. I didn't expect them to have 1 win after 17 games. And the fact that they haven't won in a year is just crazy. It's just crazy. What are we saying here, folks? Alessio, let's go back to Auckland FC. Alessio's bringing up Auckland. Alessio here says, Auckland having Jets away is a little concerning. I know we scored 4, but take away the brilliance of Jeromo May in the first half, and I think we'd have lost to Adelaide on Saturday. Yeah, Alessio, I mean, especially thinking that Auckland had that 3-1 lead. And the match ended 4-4. The fact that they conceded 3 goals in that second half. Concerning. Concerning for Auckland. And it is going to be an interesting match this weekend. We'll talk about those upcoming matches very shortly. But 3 consecutive wins for Newcastle Jets. And they host Auckland, the ladder leaders, this weekend. It'll be a fascinating watch. It will be. Cut Rock, good to see you here in the live chat. Cut Rock says Mariners were gutted at the season's end, though. That is, yep. I mean, same could be said about Wellington Phoenix. These 2 teams who were fantastic last season, who were struggling. Both Mariners and Wellington losing so many key players. Mariners losing the likes of Nisbet, Vukovic, Ballard, Dan Hall, Jacob Farrell. Wellington losing the likes of Finn Sermon, Ben Old, Bojidar Kryev, Oscar Zavada. The list goes on and on for both teams. And look, here's the thing, right? Because those 2 teams are sort of smaller teams, I'm not saying they're, small teams, but they are smaller teams. They don't necessarily have the, they maybe don't have the ability of someone like Melbourne Victory or Sydney FC to bring in some really big names. You'll get Sydney FC. Each season, they're able to recruit some pretty big name players. You look at Sydney FC at the moment, Joe Lolly, Douglas Costa, Patrick Lamala. These are top players. Leo Sen has been good for them this season. And they're able to recruit strong players every season. It was always going to be tough for Mariners and Wellington. They had such good seasons. And rightly so, they attracted a lot of interest for their players last season because those players were performing so well. And it's great to see the likes of, Josh Nisbet, Max Ballard, and Ben Old, and Finn Sermon securing moves overseas. But Mariners and Wellington Phoenix did their best to recruit players. But, yeah, it was always going to be tough to sort of replicate that same success. And here's the thing I was thinking as well, like with Mariners really struggling this season after losing so many key players. It just goes to show why the treble for Mariners last season was so special. Because that treble winning season was coming off Mariners winning a championship the year before. We shouldn't forget the 2022-23 season. Mariners winning the championship, losing Sammy Silvera, Nectar Triantis, Benny Nkololo, Jason Cummings. Like Mariners lost some serious talent. And the feeling heading into last season, 23-24, was that Mariners were going to slip down. But they dug deep again, recruited again smartly, a couple key players in key positions, and were fantastic. Were fantastic once again, Mariners. When even went even better and managed to win the treble. But this time around, obviously, it's been difficult. It was always going to be difficult to try and sustain that success. So Mariners slipping down. But look, still plenty of time in the season. Still plenty of time. Okay, what else are we saying here? Owen says, MacArthur are getting better crowds on TV. You can't see the full stand behind the camera. Hey, it was great to see the 8,000 there on the weekend. Yes, a lot of them were Sydney FC fans, but they are steadily growing, the Bulls. They are steadily going. That's right. Namar here in the live chat says, I think Brisbane suffered when Ross Aloisi left, and then after he left, they got smashed 7-0. Yes, I recall that. Away to Melbourne City. And Luciano Trani, I think, who came in as the interim head coach, he left after that game too, didn't he? Right? Yes, that was last year or the year before now, wasn't it? Ross Aloisi. There was a lot of, like when Ross Aloisi came in, they were playing some good football. He got them to the Australia Cup final in 2023. We shouldn't forget. And it felt like the Brisbane Roar, and they started the season pretty well too. Yeah, that was almost the turning point, the catalyst for Brisbane. It's good that you bring that up, Nama, on the live chat, the fact that Ross Aloisi leaving. It's almost like since then, it's just been a downward spiral downhill slope, and they've been slipping down Brisbane Roar, and now they are rock bottom of the A-League ladder. Yeah. Ebag here in the live chat says, I think the Premier's plate will go down to the last game. Interesting. So are you suggesting that you reckon maybe Auckland will come close to being caught at the top? That will be interesting. Again, looking at the ladder, Western in second place, Adelaide in third. They're both just 8 points off Auckland. I can't see it would take a huge slip up from Auckland. They would have to drop points in multiple games. I can't really see it happening. But, well, starting this weekend, again, we keep bringing it up, the Newcastle Jets away will be an interesting one. Thanks for that, Owen, who went to check my ladder prediction for this season. Says my bottom two predictions were Brisbane in 13th and Adelaide in 12th. There we go. So I predicted Brisbane to finish last, and they are heading that way. So there we go. But again, I didn't expect them to have one win after 17 games. It's just abysmal. As Owen mentions there as well, I did predict Adelaide to come 12th, and my goodness me, they are proving me wrong. But this happens every year. If you've been watching this channel for a while, there's always a team that I call to finish towards the bottom, and they always prove me wrong. It happened last time around. I called Wellington to finish last year. They finished second. They were almost premiers. So, yeah, man. Yeah. Frenzy Rabbit says, so good to see Auckland so strong out of the gates. Can easily see the momentum and the effort that's gone into the division. Dude, it's great to see. It is good to see. You know, and it's been so much fun to watch Auckland games. It really has been this season. Yeah. Ebag here says Auckland play Victory and Sydney away in the last 3 games. No, last 4 games, Ebag says. Those will be tough. Those will be tough. Those will. I tell you what, worth pointing that out, Ebag. I mean, that could be a little bit of a bump on the road for Auckland FC. Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the upcoming games here as we round out our stream here. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. Appreciate it. Hit the like button on the live stream if you haven't done so already. You can also consider sending through a super chat to support. Round 22 coming up. We've just got 5 games, a few teams with the byes. But let's have a look at the games and a chat about them, the games that are coming up. Melbourne City host Macarthur FC. For me, that is heavily favouring Melbourne City, who have been good at home this season, against Macarthur FC, who are struggling now without their captain, Valère. Big test for the Bulls. Big test. Huge test. That's Friday night. The times that you can see here on the live stream here are Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Adelaide United host Brisbane Roar. You would certainly imagine that will see the Reds get back to winning ways at home there against Brisbane Roar. Having said that, Roar were all right in that 1-1 draw against Victory last weekend. Western United host Wellington Phoenix. Again, that feels like a pretty straightforward prediction. You'd imagine Western United will win that game. Wellington Phoenix just have really just been toothless in attack this season. Owen here in the live chat has pointed out that Macarthur beat City last time we played them. That's true. Yeah. Earlier this season, they did beat them at home. 1-0, right? If I remember correctly. Melbourne Victory host Mariners. Again, one of these games that feels like it'll probably favour Melbourne Victory. Again, as a Mariners fan, hopefully we can head there and grab a big result. Mariners did defeat Melbourne Victory away last season. And of course, worth pointing out that is a rematch once again of last season's A-League Men's Grand Final. And then to round out the weekend, Newcastle Jets, Auckland FC. This is shaping up as the game to watch, man. It really is. Because you've got the informed Newcastle Jets, who are the home team, against the ladder leaders, Auckland FC. That'll be a game to watch, man. That'll be a game to watch. Nama here says, I think on paper Perth Glory has a top 6 squad. Top 6 squad club on the league. They have a top scorer. You have a top league, A-League player, and overall they have a very good recruitment. they have a top goal scorer. Yeah, of course, referring to Adam Taggart-Nama, who has been a little bit quiet in front of goal this season, unfortunately for them. Good recruitment, Nama points out here for Perth Glory. Yes, I think they're definitely stronger than what they were earlier in the season. I think Lockie Wales has been a good sign for them. And the defensive recruitment has been good for the most part. Yeah. So they've got the bye this weekend, Perth Glory, along with Sydney FC, who have Asian Champions League 2 football. Sydney FC are in action this week. Let's pull up their games as well. They have Jeonbuk in the Asian Champions League 2 quarter-finals. So we'll keep an eye on that one. This coming Thursday night, away to Jeonbuk. And then the following Thursday, that's March 13, they host Jeonbuk in the second leg. Huge couple matches there in Australian football. Yeah, when it comes to watching the other A-League teams in Asian Champions League competitions, you sort of back them. You sort of want them to do well, hey? You sort of want them to do all right. Some predictions coming in here in the live chat for the upcoming round of A-League football. Bob says, I think Jets will draw with Auckland 2-2. Owen reckons Jets will draw with Auckland 3-3. Interesting. Bob is backing a 2-0 win for Melbourne City over Macarthur. Yeah. If I was to make some quick-fire predictions right now, I think City beat Macarthur. Adelaide beat Brisbane. Western beat Wellington. I would love to see Mariners get a result against Victory, but Victory will probably get the win there, unfortunately. And look, Newcastle, Auckland, yeah, it's up in the air, and I might stick with you guys. I think we may well see a draw in that game. I think we could well see a draw between Newcastle Jets and Auckland FC. That'll be the match to watch for this coming weekend, man. On Sunday, Arvo, Jets at home. And again, I tell you what, like, we're expecting these other top teams to win. Like, Western, City, Adelaide, Victory will all probably win this weekend. And if Auckland drop points away to Jets, all of a sudden the ladder will look very interesting indeed. Like, if Auckland were to even lose, and if Western and Adelaide win, the gap is reduced to just 5 points. And there's still plenty of games remaining in the competition. So that will be an interesting one to keep an eye on this weekend. So it's certainly, we're sort of coming to the final stretch of the season now. The table is well and truly sort of taken shape now. Teams like Jets, Mariners, Wellington are seriously running out of time to play finals football. They really have to start winning. Like, now, they need to be winning games. And then there's sort of a race for this. We reckon will be second spot to get Champions League elite football. So again, the likes of Western Adelaide, Wanderers, City, Victory, Sydney, all in that mix, do not want to slip up at this point in the season. Again, just 3 points separating second to seventh, which is quite incredible as well. Bob is also backing a 3-1 win for Adelaide. Yeah, I think they'll comfortably beat Brisbane Roar at home as well. So, look, who knows? I mean, we always come in with these predictions, but there's always some big upsets. There's always some big upsets. So you never know what to expect when it comes to the A-League. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys joining us for this live recap of A-League Men's Rounds 21. Stay subscribed to the channel for plenty of Australian football content. We put out a video earlier today discussing the current Socceroos defensive injury crisis. An injury to Hayden Matthews recently, as you know, it's another big blow for the Socceroos. Australia now missing Harry Suter, Chikati, and now Matthews. You know, who starts in sort of that back three for Australia? We've got some qualifiers coming up in just a couple weeks' time. So check out that video. We've also got videos coming out throughout the week. A preview video for the upcoming round will be out on Wednesday. And make sure to check out Coastwatch Football for dedicated Mariners content here on YouTube as well. Enjoy the rest of your evenings and enjoy your weeks, everyone. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. I do appreciate it. And stay subscribed to Coastwatch Football, not just here on YouTube, but across all of the social media platforms to keep up to date to Australian football news, opinion, and analysis right here with me, Lockie. Once again, guys, have a great week. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.